Feature Friday.
The freshest. We hadn't checked out Dimash in a little while, and he has been incredibly active this past few weeks. And this is his version of Ave Maria.
Right. Dude, that
live
song.
in this happened like literally a week ago.
Very interesting.
So it's cool to see a full house and a whole band and a choir and so I'm looking forward to this. Okay, let's go.
Fantastic. Let us know also if you'd like us to check out all of his other performances, and we'll check them out throughout the week.
Yes. Señor. This is new age, so it's a new age version of the classical, I would think. Okay, the haze is my favorite part.
Because this was like a worldwide hit, right? It's not just like...
Well, it wasn't a hit. It was a church song.
So, yeah, but I didn't hit the wrong word, but it's like a worldwide known song.
Of course,
because
yes.
in Venezuela, like in South America, I think South America in general, it's like... yeah, it's just like fucking... It's like a happy birthday.
Yeah, it's a...
You know?
Yeah.
Is that the same, like, everywhere?
Yeah, well, it's a very renowned piece, indeed, yeah.
Right, okay.
Worldwide.
Okay, And it's in Italian, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a new age version of it. Oh my god, get ready to get mind blown.
Nice suit.
Nice performance.
Dude, the crowd control is amazing.
It's incredible.
Such a performer, the guy.
All right. Let's talk about how nice the breath control in this specific area of it all is. Obviously, we're talking at the top of like his higher range of singing, so his larynx are already really lifted, but he's using really shallow breaths that sit on the chest, breaths that come up here. So when you breathe, you go up here, so they become up here rather than abdominal breathing. That's usually the way that he works, down here with abdominal breathing. But because of the effect and the choice of breathiness right towards the end of the phrases in the way that he's singing it, I understand why the shallow breaths from the chest, and they're very visible. They're done on purpose, even though the style of singing usually doesn't require this way of breathing.
I think, like, in Dimash's case, it's always super interesting to see how an artist that sings primarily, classical music and classics of classical music, it manages to turn it into a performance rather than just a musical showcase. And I know a point of like exhibit A, evidence wise, would be that sort of first minute and a half that we just watched, where you could literally hear a pin drop. So it's sort of to get to that level where you're able to captivate the audience to that extent, through silence and with nothing else, stillness. It's a skill and a half, because you could do, like, usually singers that do this type of thing, right? Like classical singers, I guess they embellish on the idea of the higher notes, sometimes
The climax of
the
the songs.
climaxes of the song, but those, I don't think they would function as well if they didn't have such a control of the audience at the start, with stillness and that sort of serenity that they create through sound. And he's very good at it. I think also having such a pianist also helps.
Of course, of course.
Igor, right, is his first name?
Yeah. See, now it completely switch into that classical operatic sound. And you don't hear an edge of breathiness whatsoever.
It's just crystal clear.
Wonderful to see a full arena, isn't it?
It's odd. I don't believe it.
Yeah. And that choir is providing such an ethereal sound. You know what you do? The hand mannerisms really do help with finding those notes.
It's surreal to watch it.
It's so mind-blowing. It's
percussion.
hard. It's hard to believe that it's coming out of him, you know?
Ridiculous, dude. Would you like to breathe? Come on, brother, please breathe.
Oh my goodness.
So am I crazy, or was that all one breath?
No, that last section was all one
Holy
breath.
shit, bro.
No, yeah, that was all one breath. But if you were looking at what was actually exciting about that last piece, it wasn't like how long he held the breath, because the singing phrase was actually really breath economical. Yeah, it was very frugal, right? But the what was interesting, what was really fascinating there, was the modulation, that increscendo to a decrescendo in the same singing phrase with the same breath. That is so incredibly difficult, and maintaining the same clarity of the note. Because what happens when you go from a crescendo to a decrescendo, you naturally become breathier towards the end. Obviously, the exertion of energy to modulate the notes in such way, it's really difficult. It's a really refined movement inside of your larynx. It's a really
Fine tuned.
Yeah, it's really fine. It's delicate. So, and having it executed in such a brilliantly effortless manner, it's rather fascinating. And not only like that, but you look at it in the way that he delivers it also is in a performance, and you are in a completely different planet. You're taking from this reality.
I think also, like, you mentioned it, but it's probably good to highlight again. It's like everything, and we've mentioned it in previous singers in which they have, such movements, and everything they do is purposeful. Everything has a purpose. There's no bluff.
Yeah.
There's no fluff. Everything has an absolute. It has utility, and that's why it seems like everything's so perfect and neatly presented.
Indeed.
But it's because everything's immensely well calculated. So he truly deserves all the credit, for that performance. It's very impressive always to watch him. I do know there's like, in the past, like the past 3-4 months, he has actually this year maybe, and the year prior to that as well, where it's sort of like an evolution where we started seeing a bit maybe more pop classical,
This new wave,
neoclassic,
neoclassic music that is so fascinating. It's pop is trendy, but it's also really intricate and musically satisfying too.
I have a lot of questions regarding that because it usually that transition, it does turn out well sometimes, but it also like it never usually makes the charts. It never usually makes the billboards and stuff like that. But it is like the right evolution. I feel very unlikely. It hasn't happened in the last 10 years where you've had like a neoclassic number one.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
But he has all the skill set to be a number one. So it's just a matter of like, yeah. I mean, it also depends on what he wants to do.
I think so too.
Does he want to be commercialized, like crazy? Because then you have to also make a pact to some extent, to your sound. What do you want to be? Is he comfortable in this sense of classical music and creating arrangements and making covers of such classic songs? But his original work is good, and he's proved that was always a question, right? It's like, would his original work cause such captivation to his audience and his fans and new people? And he has. The videos are fucking class. They're like a movie. So he has a very, very peculiar journey, and I think a very interesting future.
Yeah, then again, it's a pleasure always to check out any of Dimash's work, and in any setting, from a music video, from a fan cam, from anything. He's a complete package, and his magic is captivated in every single way. So
let us know what else would you like us to check out next.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Goodbye.